but it's all good.
Right.
Right.
Look at my screen. This is what I've done. Okay, doesn't matter.
Right. I think I've got it working. Got it working. There we go. But yeah, I didn't anticipate. I forgot about the third camera, so I didn't do a layout for that.
Oh, that's
Unfortunately.
alright.
Never mind. Never
As long
mind.
as you guys can hear us fine.
Yeah, as long as
Welcome
that.
in, QQ.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh yes, here we go.
So
Right,
I'm going to turn your volume up a little bit, just so people can hear what you're saying. There we go.
Sure. So let's begin. So hi everyone, my name is Vin, aka QQ More Please. I am 32. I am from Australia. I am a social scientist, which I majored in criminal justice and social policy. So I've done a lot of study in regards to culture and stuff, as well as my own lived experiences. I won't go too much into my own story because it's a long story, because I am part of the Vietnamese exodus, so people who are actually forced out of their country, not so much willing to go out of their country, so there's a whole story there. But pretty much, yes, a lot of the things that we've been talking about tonight have a lot to do about the family structure of Asian families, just in general, and maybe even just families in general. One of the points that Shen brought up was the fact that Asian parents are very reticent in giving praise. And for me, that is partly true of what you were talking about, but also it could be a way to maintain authority, because once the parents are giving you praise, then they see that as kind of giving you more power, if you can think about it that way. Because as you were saying, you don't want to get a big head, and if you get a big head, you've got to be rude to your parents.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that very common.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because the thing about Asian families is it's all about structure. It's all about hierarchy. It's all about respect. And if you think about it, you don't want to be giving respect to people under you or lower than you, because that degrades your positions. So that's why sometimes parents will think that way. Well, if I give my kids too much praise, they're gonna talk back to me or whatever.
Right.
But yeah. So one of the things that's really different is, like, as we're males, so there's a big difference between expectations of what we have to do, whereas unfortunately Noda and a lot of Asian girls are brought up under very strict families, and this can lead to a lot of problems growing up in terms of relationships, in terms of just understanding culture and fitting in and experiencing all these kind of social kind of settings, because in their mind, it's sorry to sound a bit crude, it's not like you're going to come home with a big belly, you know what I mean? So it's a very traditional kind of way of thinking. So that's why they're very, very protective of the women, and it's kind of like this is why the dowry exists, because again, it sounds really, really awful, but in the olden days, it was kind of like a signifier of, you can look after my child. You now. This dowry is now kind of a signal that not only can you support us, but this is evidence that you have enough to support the child as well.
Is it? Is it still existing at the moment? This way of thinking about having this dowry, or giving like a certain amount of money to marry a certain person. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's not as implicit anymore. I'd say in the Asian culture. I know that some other cultures still practice it, but say in Vietnam, for example, which I'm from, it really depends on the parents, because some of the parents may be stucker in the old traditional ways, and yes, they may not explicitly ask for an X amount of value, but they go, well, we have debts, you have to pay them back for us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a progression, and I think one of the points that we're really hitting on is about this kind of new generation that we have at the moment, because if you think about it, we're on the forefront of a new generation. We have the internet, which has completely changed the game. We're no longer kind of shut off from the world, and we have all these new professions like yourself being a graphics designer, which breaks the tradition of like being a lawyer or a doctor, which has been around for like hundreds of years. And so traditional parents don't really know what to feel about it. They're like, well, is this really successful? Like any kind of new age thing, they're like, I don't know if this is really going to work out for you. And so they kind of, while they can be supportive, they're very doubtful of if it's going to work out or not, for obvious reasons. And so a lot of other things. For example, like the whole why your the whole parents thing is kind of. I wrote something down about this. Yeah, so when new parents come to to a country as first generation migrants, you have to think it's quite a struggle for them because they kind of have to rebuild their lives either by choice, say for Noda and yourself, or not by choice like myself. Just thrown to the wolves pretty much, and they have to build their lives from scratch. They kind of have to not only learn the language, but they have to kind of find stable housing, stable income, and then also have to deal with all the cultural stuff that comes afterwards.
Right.
So and it's just not only limited just to the Asian experience, but a lot of people are experiencing mental health problems these days, and a lot of it is to do with a sense of not being able to belong anywhere. Like even you may be around people that are like-minded for you, but you may have this kind of feeling that you don't belong there, and it's a very common phenomenon in our age. But to talk more about that point, yes, it's very strange that we, as the first generation or second generation of Asian kids, don't really fit into any kind of category. We're not accepted by Western society yet, and neither are we accepted by Asian society because we don't have the fluent language, or even if we do, we have very radical different ideas to what they have because they often have their own traditional values, which we don't really have. Like, say for example, McDonald's that hasn't even come to Vietnam yet, and so when we go, we want to go get takeaway, people look at us all kind of weird.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree with what you're saying. Like being stuck in that in between, being like, it's that I was saying this before to Noda, that it's this mishmash of culture. Being whether you're either too westernized or too Chinese, what is the fine balance? I think that's something that a lot of us struggle with. I still struggle with it every day, to be honest with you. So
yeah, it's like I want to be tanned and tattooed.
Exactly.
But can I?
But I think growing up and becoming, well, I don't see myself as an adult, even though I'm 32, but becoming older, for example, is that the grip of the parents becomes less and less, and they become more open and accepting of what we are. Yeah. Because I think it's maybe just how society is now being constructed, but more so just like it could be normal. Like once you've done what they've asked, be it get a job, finish uni or whatever, then they're like, okay, now you're off to the races with me. You can do whatever you want, and I think that's very common in terms of Asian kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I have other things, but I can't really think of it at the moment. But you guys have any questions in terms of your own experiences that I could shed some light on?
I have a question, and in terms, I think this is an interesting topic. It's about gaming and content creation in Chinese culture, right? So this is something that myself and Noda have been doing, and to tell you, like, if I said to my mum 10 years ago, oh, by the way, I'm actually I'm started streaming and I've started doing something with it. I've actually making, I'm actually building some form of career out of it as well, creating content. They wouldn't believe you. They would be like, what the hell's that? What the hell's streaming? What the hell is, or whatever. I mean, and gaming as well, because like obviously, gaming is like seen as like a pastime, leisure, right? Like I remember telling my mum that I travel to tournaments and stuff like that. I travelled to tournaments to play Tekken. And I at first, my mum didn't really quite understand it. She didn't quite understand why would you want to spend money to travel to these tournaments or travel to these events? You can play the games at home. You can play the games online and stuff like that. But for me, it's that pursuit of mastery. Do you know what I mean? Like competing and stuff like that. And my dad actually said, is it any different from gambling? Like, do you win any money from it? Do you lose money from it? What makes you want to, play so much? And then I couldn't give them a straight answer because I couldn't really tell them why I wanted to do it. For me, it was just the sense of enjoyment, the sense of trying to better myself at something that I'm passionate about, right? But obviously, my parents won't really see the benefit from that. They'll see it as like, well, it's just a game. Why would you put so much time into a game if it's not going to benefit your career? It's not going to benefit your life. You're not going to make any money out of it, and that kind of thing, right? And I think.
Right. So yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. So what I would say is that it's not just limited to Asian culture, and I think people have brought that up in chat. It's a new era. If think about it, like, say if you're a professional chess player, your parents would have no qualms about it because it's just like, oh yeah, chess has been established for a long time.
Yeah.
But the whole esports scene, which is kind of like a pseudo kind of expert on, is like, it's a brand new thing. Like, all this money coming in, all this kind of promotion coming in, it's slowly becoming part of the mainstream. And it's just like any new thing. It's like, oh, as I said, being a graphics designer, I don't know if it's going to make money. Like, even when my parents found out I was doing social science instead of some other traditional thing, they're like, what, really? Does that make any money? I mean, it's a very common thing with Asian guys. It's like, Asian parents, it's just like, are you going to make any money out of it? Are you going to have a career?
Yeah, of course. So, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, so this is the kind of weird thing that we're a part of at the moment, and it's kind of like we have layers, you know. In theory, we call it, I think, intersectionalism, which is kind of like, you know, you're Asian, but you're also internet personality. You're Asian, but you're etc. So we have the kind of like, we're an online personality, and we make, you know, a living out of that. But then we also have the experience of being an Asian.
Yeah.
So it's
and what you said earlier about sort of being overprotective, more so to the females, I guess I sense that with my own dad, because when I started streaming, I basically had to keep it quiet for probably like 4 or 5 months. I didn't want to tell them, and I didn't feel comfortable. Yeah, because when you're growing up, and you know that there's certain things you can share, and there's certain things that, if you shared, you're gonna get some sort of, response that's not very nice. So even to this day, like, I would rather not tell my dad or mum certain things, because it's almost that I don't want that response. And I know we're going off a little bit off topic here, but
no, actually, I can bring it back. I can bring it back quite easily.
Yeah, I mean, like, just say.
What you're talking about here is the whole family dynamic of being of pride and respect. And sometimes when you do something that's a bit off kilter or not part of what their expectations are, you feel the shame, and that shame kind of makes you withdraw from telling.
I missed my flight last week, right? And I could not. I could have saved money by just going back home, right? But I chose to spend a lot of money on a hotel just so I could save face, just so I could have that pride of I didn't make a mistake. Because if my dad found out that I missed my flight, then there will be so much, in my mind, negative consequences and shame, and why haven't you done things properly? Like, I would rather spend more money or do something to prevent that from happening. And I think that's been, for me, happening for a long time.
And I think this is coming back to what I said to you before, where parents don't really praise you because they want to keep a kind of authority over you. So if your dad was just like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it, everyone makes mistakes, and then they think that you don't learn from the experience.
Yeah.
And so that was what Shen was saying before, like, well, now whenever my mother says something to me, I feel like it's very genuine. But before, she would never really compliment me of what I was doing right, and so I felt like I had to push myself further.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
So I mean, just as a side note, like, you can even see these kind of Asian dynamics when you're playing Yakuza.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And another topic I wanted to bring up as well is the topic of tattoos as well in Asian culture.
Yakuza tattoos.
Yeah. Okay, like, ever since I was like a teenager, I always wanted like a tattoo. That's because I'm quite an artistic person. I'm very creative. It's not because I wanted to be part of a gang or anything like that, or be part of a Yakuza. It's because I wanted it to symbolize something, had meaning to it, right? And now that I've reached over my 30s, and I went through a bit of a struggle last year, and I wanted something to mark the occasion, to sort of like that I overcome the struggle, and I wanted to have like a marking to remind me of it, of the person that I become. which is why I went and got a tattoo. But it wasn't just any tattoo; it was like a half sleeve tattoo. It's like across my upper arm, and and the thing is, like, there was no way for me to hide it from my mum. She would be like, if it's a hot sunny day, she'd be like, why are you wearing a big shirt, or why are you wearing a jumper, or why are you wearing a hoodie, and for me, I don't like hiding things from my parents. I don't like being secretive about stuff, because there's always that guilt inside me, like, oh my god, I need to say something, I can't hide this forever. And I remembered when I rung up my mum. So I rung her up out of the blue. I said, hey mum, how you doing? And she's like, oh, hey Ez, what you doing? What's going on? Like, mum, I got something to tell you. And she's like, okay, what is it? I got a tattoo. And then she just went, how big? I said, across my whole upper arm. Big pause. Speak to your dad. That was it. And then I spoke to my dad, and my dad was like, when did you get this tattoo? And I was like, got it yesterday. And he was like, okay, how big is it? And I said, oh, it's across my upper arm. And he was like, okay, why did you get it? And I just said, well, I always wanted one, Dad, and I'm old enough to make my own choices. He's like, well, I'm not going to stop you.
Say that.
Yeah. And he's like, well, I'm not going to stop you. You do what you want, but it's just not, I just don't think it, it adds anything to your life. Why would you want it? You can't get rid of it now. Do you know how much it will cost to get rid of it? And I just said, well, Dad, I really want it. I really, really, really want it. You know what I mean? So this is back to me in my teenage years, like, Dad, I really want it. Please let me have my tattoo. It's too late now anyways. I already got it done. But then, like, I remember, like, me and my mum, we didn't speak for an entire, like, 2 to 3 weeks. Because I don't think it quite sunk in for her. Like, her little boy, the rebel son that turned into the perfect son has gone off and done something completely rebellious,
Can't take the rebel out.
Yeah. And I think for her, she couldn't quite accept it at the time. But then after speaking to my aunties and uncles and a couple of family friends, they were like, oh, he's still the same person. It's just a bit of ink, he's not changed or anything. He's just. And then she was like really researching on tattoos. She went through the internet, like literally finding stuff like, will my son still have a job? You know what I mean? Do people with tattoos still have jobs and stuff like that? She's like, she went ham on the internet. And then when she read stuff like, tattoos are much more socially accepted, I think she started to sort of ease up a little bit. Then after speaking to my older cousin called Lisa, and she's quite traditional in a way, but she's also said, like, you know what, he's old enough to make his choices and tattoos are accepted. It doesn't mean he's a bad person, he's just an artistic guy, and loads of people have tattoos these days. And I think my mum slowly sort of accepted it. She accepted it now. She's fine with it now. And then the next time I saw her, she was like, so when you're getting colour done? Do you know what I mean? So it just turned into a normal conversation. But I think go on.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do is, I forgot this point earlier, is to go back towards your mother and your relationship with your mother. Like, not to say this is the exact case, but you mentioned that back then you were going through a hard time and your mother didn't reach out to you. Yeah. And then you had to reach out to her. Now, I would say that maybe she was self-aware of how the way that she kind of interacted with you beforehand, but in some ways that is also another authoritarian kind of authority move, because she's like, well, I'm going to wait until you seek my help, not give my help openly, if you understand what that means. May not be the case in this one, but it is very common to do. It's like, well, I know you're struggling, but unless you ask for my help, I'm not helping you.
Yeah. Is that like
that's the case.
Is that like
but in a way, we're taught not to ask for help, because if you ask for help, then I haven't brought it up, as well as I want you to, right? Is this whole...
But I mean, at the same time, they want you to ask for help from them specifically. Like, there are some times where they go, oh, why'd you ask your sister for help? You could have came to me. Why did you go to someone else to ask? You could have came to me.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, they don't want you to ask questions, but when you do ask questions, they want you to go to them to get the answers for.
Yeah, I can
That's
relate
true.
to
So
that.
Yeah, I can
no,
relate
if
to
there
that.
is
I
any
can relate to
questions-
that. Yeah, definitely.
If there
I
is
can
any
relate to
questions,
that.
just read them out to me and I'll answer
Yeah.
them. 'Cause-
Yeah.
Yeah.
My tattoo story is a bit different in the sense that I haven't even told my dad. And I
Is
don't
it? He
have
better
any
not be
tattoos.
watching this now. Is he watching this now? He's gonna kill
No,
you
he's-
later. I'm
That's
just gonna
thing,
turn the
like,
light on.
there's so many things that I would not even consider sharing. Like even if I was in an accident or something, right, I wouldn't even like reach out because it's the, I guess maybe the relationship and the confidence. But my mom does know. My relationship with my mom is a bit different, so she knows that I have one on my back. And the first thing that she said was, "Oh, it's quite big," and I was like, "Yeah." And then she said, "Oh, just no more, right? This is the only one. Like you're only gonna get you're only gonna get one tattoo, right?" And I was like, "I don't know about that."
There are so
And
many
then-
inappropriate jokes. I'm just gonna shut my mouth.
Okay, and then maybe like half a year later, I got another one, and I didn't tell her, and obviously my dad doesn't know. And then she noticed it, and then she was like, "Oh, you got another one?" I was like, "Yeah." And I think my mum's all right because she's a lot more westernized, but
Yeah.
I will
Yes.
never consider even sharing that fact to my dad. Will not.
Right.
I would
And
not.
so just on the topic of tattoos, like it's not only limited to just Asians. I mean, it's a big thing in Asian culture because tattoos, yakuza, and triads
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Triads and stuff like
But
that.
then
Yeah.
you also have the fact that employment-wise, people who with visible tattoos are less likely to get employed because they have a stigma against it. So it's not just Asians, but of course it's becoming a lot more acceptable now as time goes on. But 10, 20 years ago, you had a tattoo, you're like, oh, you're a rebel, you're a punk, you're not going to be very reliable at work, so therefore I'm going to dismiss you. So
When I had my tongue piercing, my dad said that he would not consider me as a daughter.
Oh,
I got my
shit.
tongue
Exactly.
pierced when I was 15,
Exactly.
16, and he explicitly said those words to me when he
Oh,
saw
wow.
the tongue piercing in my mouth, and he said, "You're not my daughter." So judged based on that, obviously I took it out eventually. Based on that, I would not tell him that I have a tattoo.
Wow.
you know,
Will he actually disown you then if he knew that you got a tattoo now?
probably.
Oh shit. My family are alright with it now, but before they were, yeah, they questioned it a lot. Like, why did you get this tattoo? What's the purpose of it? And how's it going to benefit you in the future? And I didn't think about those things, if I'm being honest with you. For me, it was just like a mark of an era, if you get what I mean. For me, it's like a permanent reminder of, going through personal struggle and overcoming that. And, that's the way I saw it. But the way they saw it is like,
What value does it give
yeah,
you?
what's it going to bring you? Is it actually going to
Right.
bring you anything? Is it going to add anything to your life? And is it actually going to affect your employment, for future jobs and stuff like that?
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's so
But I
interesting
mean-
because my dad, sorry to interrupt, but I
That's
just want
fine.
to share something that my dad, he will say, if you're not working, like, what are you doing? As in, like, it's like almost like, what's the point, right? Like, you like, okay, the most important thing is that you're working. That's it. Like, for him, doesn't matter what job. For him, it's like as long as you're working, and outside of work, what do you do? What he doesn't sort of have the sort of life, like work-life balance. Like he's got to be work, and keep working. And
That's a
he's almost
tradition.
70
That's like the
and he's
hallmark
still
of the
working.
tradition.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was saying, like, this is actually quite good because all three of us are just maybe early 30s, and we've kind of gotten to the same point where we've kind of broken free from the traditional path of the Asian family, and we're kind of in a place where we're really realizing our own identity in a world where everything's completely connected. So there's no longer these pressures of traditional families, traditional values, traditional whatever. We can kind of branch out, and it's becoming more normalized, which is a good thing because a lot of people don't want to be lawyers. They want to be artists. They want to be YouTubers. They want to be shit posters. And so it's really interesting because I found this a lot, and I have some Asian friends, and we're all coming to the same realization that we're like, oh right, we kind of live by our own kind of standards now. We don't have to. We're not continually walking in the shadow of our parents and trying to make them proud of us anymore because. Particularly at this juncture in our life, things are so interconnected that we could always have another opinion on life besides our parents, which was not possible 20 years ago when you didn't have internet, when you couldn't just call someone up on the internet and have a conversation over Discord.
Interesting.
And so yes, were there any other questions from the chat? Because
Yeah, there's a few on Shen's chat actually.
Yeah, I haven't got that. So yeah, I mean,
I've got a question. Let's see. If you started off not close to your family early on in life, what incentive do you have to connect with them later in life? And that's from Space Tater, and then Nodamochiiee says, please answer this.
So that's totally up to you, I guess, because for us, for example, you two might be different from me, but my parents were a little bit different. They were very open-minded, so I didn't really have a problem with that. But for say, there are a lot of children who kind of resent their parents for the kind of strict upbringing, and therefore, when they get older, they kind of just want to cut ties with them completely. But then there are some who want to come back and try to understand why their parents are the way that they are, and maybe it was their kind of twisted way of love. You know, as you say, they never compliment you, they never give you any praise, they're very strict on you. But then when you look back on it and go, maybe that's just all they knew. It's kind of like, can you really call someone, you know, unintelligent if all they knew was just a brick wall?
How do you steer yourself to study what you do and not what they wanted you to study? Is another question.
You don't. You really don't. Until the thing is, you don't really develop your own independent personality until you're around about 24. So you're pretty much just doing what you think is right, and being influenced by people around you, mainly your parents. But maybe you might have an early epiphany and say, well, yeah, maybe what my parents are saying isn't right, and I want to do my own thing. But like any parents, they will give you a set direction to go, and then there comes a certain part in your life where you go, I'm going to follow what they say, or I want to do my own path. And that's with every single kid. Doesn't matter what race or what culture you're from.
Interesting. Let's see if there's another question. Yeah, there's some things you can't tell your parents. If you okay,
Have a look back at some of my notes.
Guys, if you've got any questions, you can just @QQ.
Yeah. Also, if you guys got questions, make sure you @ the person who you want to ask the question to as well. That would be good. Just so like.
Oh yeah, and so another thing I was talking about. Yeah, I've also unfortunately gone through a breakup as well, a divorce.
Oh, are you?
Dated,
oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry to hear that.
It's alright. It's been a while, but I dated my first girlfriend. She was an Australian-born Vietnamese, but she was traditional as all hell. So
Right.
this is kind of the weird thing. You can either go two ways. You can follow the parents and go all full out traditional,
Yeah.
or you can kind of go new age like we have and kind of make our own way.
Mhm.
And it really was the whole I want to marry young. I want to, all this kind of weird stuff. We're not living together until we're not going to live together until we're married and all this kind of rubbish. And she was like 18 at the time, so
Oh wow.
yeah, it's a little bit like that when you're sheltered and you don't really have much real life experience with social interactions and whatnot. And my ex-wife was actually from North Vietnam. And if you know anything about Vietnam, it's like my heritage is from the south, and so it's kind of like North and South Korea to a kind of extent. But yeah, it was very interesting because I was trying to follow in the mold of my parents. Try to keep it within the culture, try to keep it within the whole sphere that everyone can interact. Because let's say if I got someone who barely spoke English but like was Filipino or whatever, it's just how are my parents going to communicate with this person? Like we could understand each other. But then once it comes to the parents trying to accept them, which is always going to be a problem, it's like, will they really accept anyone else but someone who's familiar to them? And so I kind of put myself in a position where, I was obviously attracted to her, but at the same time, a lot of the influence was like, well, maybe the shared experiences we had and the fact that she could communicate with my family much better means that I can make this work, which obviously it didn't. But, these things kind of influence how we go for these new in our relationships, because I don't know about you, but like maybe your parents are kind of like the same. They want someone they can talk to fluently.
Yeah, and I think that sort of connects well with the question that Will wants to ask me. He basically asked, did you ever get grief for dating non-Chinese girls? And same goes for Asian, non-Asian relationships. I wouldn't say I've got grief. I think that's the wrong word to use. I would say I did get questioned in terms of like my taste in women. Yeah, basically I have dated many types. I dated a Thai girl, I dated English girls, I dated Vietnamese, I even dated a Muslim girl, believe it or not.
Same here.
Yeah, and you know, and I did marry an English girl, like a traditional English girl. And you know what? Like my family were thinking, would you not rather be with someone that shares the same culture as you, share the same values, you know, that share this not the same interests, but like you know the same morals and stuff like that. You know the
same heritage. And
the same heritage. Understand your struggles as well. Like then, exactly. But I think as I got older, I think they kind of realized that no matter what they're gonna do, like I am gonna make my own choices on who I date. You know what I mean, on who I want to be with, and I think like they kind of just grown out of it and sort of think like, you know, as long as she's a good person, as long as she makes you happy, then you know you do what you do what makes you happy. You go ahead and date whoever you want. Do you know what I mean? Just make sure she's a good person. That was the main thing. And I did marry an English girl, and you know, unfortunately, it just didn't work out. But you know, my parents they didn't judge it or anything like that. But I think they did judge the, you know, when I was in my teenage years and stuff like that. They did think like, would you not rather be with someone of the same culture?
And I think for, well, I don't know, for myself and maybe yourself, Shen,
yeah,
it's kind of they don't actually explicitly say these things, but we kind of feel obligated and somewhat pushed into the direction of finding a Chinese girl or a Vietnamese girl or whatever, someone within our own culture. But it's not. It may not be the case with Noda, because I know the first escapades.
Can I say something, right? That it's more common to see a Chinese girl with an English man than it is with a Caucasian man than it is with a Chinese guy with a Caucasian woman. It's not as common. And I remembered specifically going into Vietnam, going into Hong Kong. Like when I even go to Chinatown and I was with an English girl, people gave us this really unusual looks, like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, this is unusual. It's because it's normally the other way around, but like there wasn't that.
It's just me theorizing, but it could be because, you know, oh well, it's a white guy, you know, he's probably got a good job. Yeah. Whereas, like, you know, what are you doing with this Asian, this white girl? You know, aren't you?
Yeah, it's like, well, you know, it's like, what are you doing with this, this white girl and stuff like that. I don't know. I was like, there was like this, you know, I remembered going into a Chinese restaurant having dim sum, and then some people just gave us that weird look, like, is he really dating an English girl or something like that? You know what I mean? And but when it's the other way around, no one gives a damn or something. It's like I don't know what it is.
Probably the only advantage that Asian women have over Asian men.
Yeah,
because they get the short stick of a lot of things.
Exactly. You Asian women can date whoever you want. Us Asian men have to date the same culture. Apparently,
you just have to be locked up in the house until you're 26.
I basically dated in secret again. Like this whole, you know, what I mentioned earlier about, you know, one side showing one side, like different identities, and it was only like if I knew that it was a very serious relationship, they would be introduced to my parents. Funnily enough, with the guys I've dated, they always try and speak to my dad. Because my dad literally does not know English, right? So there's been times where guys have just, I'm going to learn, and they always say this to me. They're like, I'm going to be fluent in Cantonese. You know, one day I'll get to speak with your dad, and you know, I'll get to understand him. But you know, it's a hard language to learn anyway.
Yeah.
But for me, I guess it's just they don't really pressure in that sense. It's just that I had to date in secret. I mean, I started dating when I was like 16, right? But they never saw anyone until I was like 20s.
And I think there's a few theories behind this. So one of them is just like, you know, they want, even in any culture, it's just like you want the approval of the macho, the breadwinner in the house, you know, just in case things go wrong. But there's also other things like validation. It's all about validation when it comes to kind of these kind of cross-cultural relationships. like even before when I was doing a study, there was one of the things they said. It's like when a younger girl dates a really old guy, because what they're really looking for is validation from their father, not so much into older guys. And it was kind of an oof moment, but it's in research, so you can't really deny it. But it's very interesting when it comes down to dating, because for myself, yes, I had my first girlfriend was just Australian born Vietnamese, very traditional. My second girlfriend was kind of like, which was a very short term thing, and she was actually a South African Indian Muslim. So it was a bit of a turn. And it didn't last too long, but we kind of had the shared experience of being just new age immigrants, but at the same time our belief systems were just too different for us to work out, even though intellectually and emotionally we were very close. It's just when things get in the way, like culture, religion, or be it anything, it can make things a real struggle.
Okay, can I also ask a question about Asian men in general? Like, are they like not very desired? If I'm being honest, like, there seems to be this stigma that Asian men are shorter, smaller in other departments as well, and stuff like that.
No, are you a secret Nazi?
What's what? No.
Do you like tall blonde men only?
No.
My first boyfriend's British-born Chinese.
What's
actually.
that?
My first boyfriend, serious boyfriend, British-born Chinese.
Right.
So, but he couldn't speak any Cantonese. So when I invited him to meet the family, they were speaking to him in Cantonese, and he's like, "Oh no, I never learned." But yeah, so
I don't know. Like, I think Will's put a point here. He said like Tinder sucks for Asian guys. What are your thoughts on that comment?
Well, I'm not getting anywhere of how I look at the moment, so. But no, I think it's hard to explain. It may be just a cultural thing. Maybe they just like something different. It's hard to explain, mate. It's really just personal choice. I mean, some girls are into Asian guys, some girls aren't. I'm into Asian girls, but I wouldn't turn my nose up as any other race.
I'm not picky when it comes to race. Like, I'm not picky when it comes to race. As long as I get on with them, as long as we have a connection, then that's all that matters to me, really. So the skin color doesn't really faze me when it comes to dating. Neither does culture, I suppose. I think the main thing for me is like, we connect more than anything. But I know, like, traditional families, or the older generation, they will want you to be with someone that shares the same heritage and the same culture. But yeah, I guess for me, like, I personally, I'm not fussy in terms of, the type of women that I go with, as long as I have a good connection with them.
And I think maybe, this is just a maybe, it's just like the Asian women may just want to escape the whole Asian kind of tradition itself. So if you think about it, if you marry an Asian guy, their family's still going to have that Asian culture kind of ingrained into them. So it's you can't really escape it. They go, well, she's the woman of the house, she's the housemaker of the house. But even if you get in like an Australian-born Chinese or whatever, it's still the same problem. Whereas they go. Because if you're kind of sheltered environment, and you suddenly see this Western guy whose family's just completely open and bonkers, and they give you total freedom, you're just like, this is great. I like the white guys. I like the different cultures. I don't have to deal with the crap of Asian parents telling me that I'm not good enough or I'm not conservative enough or whatever. I mean, that could be a theory, but
I think that raises a good point, because I have spoken to a lot of my friends who are females, and they always say that they feel like they have to earn the respect of their in-laws, and are they a good enough daughter for the son, and things like that.
Is that why you think they decide to date English men, because they don't have to go through that testing environment with an Asian family?
I think I can speak more on that. Yes.
Do you think that's what it is? Like, it's easier to date an English person because the English family are going to be much more open to the culture and everything like that. But then when you go on.
I think one part. It's one part. I mean, it's very hard to tell, but I would say one part of it is just like there is they can see the freedom that they so desired from being in a traditional family. Because as I said, being in a kind of disciplined family where you're not able to express yourself as well as you can, and then suddenly moving to a Western culture where it's very open and everyone can discuss openly about how you feel, and it's not weird to be around different people. It's not weird to do this and that. But I mean, I think that's a part of it, and it's not the total story.
Okay.
But, that's why it's more common to see, like, you know, the Asian girls with the white guys, because there's not so much stigma against this. Whereas Asian guys, you're supposed to get, you know, a nice little country traditional girl and put her on a pedestal for all your relatives to see, and she has to be all her skin needs to be, like, you know, completely flush white and skinny.
Oh God.
So,
beauty standards is another huge topic, you know, in terms of what, like, eye shape, nose shape, face shape, tanned or whitened skin.
Can I just say, I'm all natural, no facial surgery, nothing. All muscle, natural muscle. So there you go.
Natural muscles, guys.
Yeah. I'm all natural. Like, I don't know. I don't really believe in the whole. You know, I know. Like, Asian culture, they frown on tattoos and stuff like that. But then, but they seem to, like, socially accept, you know, facial restructure and cosmetic restructure and stuff like that. I'm like, why would you want to do that?
Even.
Yeah.
It could be a birthday present. It could be. Yeah, you want to get your eyelids done? Sure, I'll pay for it. I think
that's why, like, this is quite controversial for me to say, which is why I'm not a big fan of K-pop, because I feel like people sort of put K-pop, like, groups on a pedestal, like, we have to look that way in order to be accepted in this culture. Do you know what I mean? Which is why, like, you know, cosmetic surgery is so popular and stuff like that. But I don't know whether that's a true statement. But, like, I feel like it sends.
You could have just avoided the K-pop argument, because just say that, you know, the fashion.
Yeah, I feel it sends the wrong message. You know, like, you know, these idols that are cosmetically enhanced, they got this flush, perfect skin, these perfect faces, and these people are famous because of these, you know, these cosmetic enhancements. I feel like sends the wrong message. It's almost like sending the message to these people, like, you have to surgically enhance yourself to stand a chance of being just as famous as they are. Do you know what I mean? Or to even be like a successful.
And again, this feeds into the kind of mental health crisis that we're currently seeing at the moment, because people just can't find an identity that they're comfortable with, or they're made to feel uncomfortable being with the identity they have. Oh, I'm not as skinny as, you know, the models that I see on TV. Oh, I don't have the skin complexion to match the other people, and etc. This is the kind of unrealistic expectations we put on people these days. It's kind of like, because we're so bombarded with the internet, it's both a blessing and a curse when you think about it, because you have like a million beauty channels online, and that everyone's telling you to be, you know, eat less, be skinnier, have your skin whiter, etc. And those pressures can really feed into the mental health side of today's society.
Yeah, I think that's why, like, everyone asks me, why do you hate K-pop so much? Why do you don't like it? And I say it's not just the music, it's what they stand for. Well, I don't know whether they actually stand for that belief or not, but I just don't like how it sends the wrong message to this younger generation that you have to look a certain way in order to be successful or to be socially accepted. I can't stand it, which is why I can't relate to K-pop groups. I relate more to rock band groups and rappers, because they are actually singing from the heart. Their lyrics mean so much to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, they actually connect with the audience, to the listener. But with K-pop, you know, like, to be honest with you, I find the music annoying.
It's mass-produced.
Yeah, it's mass-produced. It's mass-produced shit. And it's like, you know, and then at the same time, these people are surgically enhanced, sending the wrong message to the younger generation. Look at us. Look how successful we are. You can look like this if you can afford to look like this. And it's like, why would you encourage that? You know, that for me, I'm against that. That my belief in that is very strong by it. Which I know some people may not agree with me. I mean, that's fine, examples. You know. But that is honestly my opinion on K-pop and, you know, and idols and stuff like that. It's just, for me, they should be encouraging people to socially accept who they are. Like, you know, you can be beautiful without all these surgical enhancements. You can be a great person without all this bullshit. You know what I mean? You don't need all this bullshit in order to be successful, you know? And I just feel that's what some of these
I
K-pop
think
groups
this is
sort
what
of send
I was
out.
talking about before of us reaching, our 30s, and we're kind of finding our own identity because a lot of people will listen to other people to kind of find where they are, and we're at the point where like, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to do my own thing. But yeah, as you say, more young impressionable people will look at like some kind of mega million budget like K-pop video and go, wow, I want to look exactly like that. And that's exactly the problem because they've poured so much money into the visual aesthetic of the videos.
Yeah.
And you're like, I want to look like that.
I'll be honest with you. I did want to get surgery.
Why?
So I did. I was saving. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a new nose.
Really?
I really hated my features.
Why?
Especially
No,
from the
don't do
ages
it.
of
Don't do it.
13, From the ages of 13 until about maybe, I don't know, 19. That was the time I was like, okay, my nose is too flat. My eyes are way too small. And I have really big cheeks, and I really hated my appearance, and I hated being Chinese. I really did.
Really?
And
Oh my god, I didn't realise it was that bad.
Hated it. It
Oh my
was.
god.
Loaded with
because
cat
around-
eyes.
Wow, that's an
Yeah.
eye-opener for me. I did not know
For
that
me,
about you.
Cough, cough.
Seriously, I was like, I really hated the way I looked. I
Look,
really
the nose
did.
thing is a big thing in for Asian women. I know my ex-wife got her nose done. I know a lot of people who get their nose done. It's like plastic surgery in Asian countries is just like going out and getting a tan. I mean, that's another thing I was thinking about. Yeah, it's like with Asian women and like say, we all go out to the beach. We're like, yeah, we're gonna get a tan. And you see all the Asian girls like, no, I'm gonna cover up 100%. I don't want a single sun ray on my skin.
Yeah, I got so much stick going when I went to Malaysia to see my relatives, and I wanted to tan, and they're like, "Why? Why do you want to tan your beautiful pale skin? You're lucky you don't have skin in the sun in the UK. Why do you want to tan? It's like midday." But for me, I guess I associated being tan with like healthy glow and things like that. So
Skin cancer.
yeah, SPF 100. But yeah, now it's fine. Like, obviously, I don't think about that now. I don't want to get surgery in my face.
But then again, like, I think Scott Solid Snake Cubes has raised the point. I don't think the whole facial enhancement or whatever enhancement is only applicable to Asian culture. It's actually everywhere.
No, of course not.
Do you know what I mean? So, but like, I personally don't understand enhancements and stuff like that. But if it makes you feel good, then great. But I just don't. I feel it just sends the wrong message, and I feel like
While that's true,
yeah,
I would say that it's more normalized in Asian culture and it's more accessible in Asian culture because in the West it costs so much to get Botox.
It's massive
Yeah.
in Korea, right?
Yeah, it's like it costs so much to get surgery in the West, whereas
Right.
in Asia it's like you can get away with a nose job for a couple of $100 and you're done.
Oh my god.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that was my plan.
So that's
before.
what.
That's what I wanted to do. Go to Korea and get something done.
Really?
Exactly. Everyone
Yeah.
goes to
I'll be
Asia
honest,
for all their
I'm
surgery.
honest
Wow.
with you, yeah.
I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Because
I
over
did
here
not think that.
they're kind of bound to the regulations and they have to make sure you're okay and you've got to be in the hospital and it can cost thousands of dollars just to get a basic surgery. But in Asia they're like, we're going to cut a bit of your nose off. You can go home in the afternoon. You're fine.
It's just I don't get how that is more accepted than a tattoo. I really don't get it. I like people really frown on tattoos. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh no,
Well,
no.
if you think of it, if you think about it this way, the whole surgery thing is to them an enhancement of beauty, whereas a tattoo is a degradation of beauty. If you think about it, especially on women, it is hella frowned on women because it's like you want your skin to be nice and clean and perfect, and now you put ink all over it. So, whereas they see plastic surgery as like this is an enhancement. You have your nose is not perfect, therefore we need to mold you in the way to be perfect. So
Yeah.
that's the dichotomy that they would deal with.
What's ABG?
ABG. What? What's that?
What's ABG?
American born something?
Not Asian baby girl?
Where'd you get that abbreviation from? Where's that coming from? ABG.
Or Asian boba girl?
Oh, is this in your chat? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh right. I was like, where's this coming from? Where's this coming from? Yeah.
Just
It's
to
an
cap
American
off that.
thing. Oh, okay.
Just to cap off the whole dating thing, it's like, yeah, remarrying is just not a thing. Like, getting married again is really frowned upon with in Asian cultures. Even the previous generation of our parents really struggle with that because not everything works out. But then when you separate and remarry, they don't even allow you to have a wedding, so to speak. It's like you have one partner and that's it. And if you break up, then that's over for you. So that's another thing that even our parents would have struggled with. So you can see it's progression where things that were unacceptable 20, 30 years ago are now, thankfully, more open and more accepted.
Interesting. Wow. I've learned a lot today. That's all I can say. and yeah, I like it. I almost lost myself speaking about K-pop, but I'm gonna chop that bit off after putting this on YouTube. I don't want any stands coming after me. Yeah. People are gonna clip it now, and I'm gonna get death threats now all of a sudden. But
on Twitter.
Yeah, but all I'm gonna say is it's an opinion. Okay, so if people wanna surgically enhance themselves and it's none of my business.
Go for it.
You know what I mean? Go for it. But for me personally, I don't think anybody needs to do that. I don't think they need to. You can be a great person or beautiful in your own way without having to do all these cosmetic enhancements. That's the message I'm trying to say.
Yeah. The general rule would be, if you feel like it's something that you want to do out of your own desires and not out of other pressures, go ahead. If it makes you happy and you're not being pressured into it, go ahead. Have a tattoo, do whatever you want. But if you feel like people are pressuring you because you have low self-confidence or you feel like you're not the perfect person, seek help first. Get some opinions. Talk to someone. Because having a low opinion of yourself isn't going to change when you change your whole face.
It's only temporary as well, right? These enhancements. Do they have further complications in the future or what?
Yeah, like a nose job. If you break it once, it's gone.
Really?
It's a mess.
Oh my
God.
a
mess. Because they actually put an artificial kind of nose in there. So if you snap it, it's going to be a really big process to kind of get it, because you're not going to regenerate it. There's nothing natural that to regenerate.
Right. Damn. I didn't realize how fragile it is. That means you have to be super careful then, won't you?
Too much. Just checking through the notes to see if there's anything else to cover. But...
Yeah. And shall we ask the chat if they got any more questions before we roll this out? Well, roll this off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chat,
so,
if you've got any questions, just let me know in the
yeah, let us know in the chat, and make sure you at the person you want to ask a question to. Just so not all three of us answer the same question for about half an hour. So you guys got any questions, then please fire away before we close the stream. But it's been a very, very insightful stream, so thank you, QQ, for for speaking to us and give us a bit of your insight, your knowledge as well. I've really learned a lot today.
I have a question for QQ actually.
Go for it.
This is not from chat, this is my question. Do you know anything, I wrote this down earlier, but do you know anything about something called code switching?
Code switching?
Code switching.
Yeah,
so
I may go explain it a bit. I may know the actual phenomenon, but I probably
it's based on literacy, but they've used it for cultural studies. So code switching is when you hide part of yourself or hide part of your cultures to try and fit into whatever circles you're in. So let's say if I'm with my BBC friends, I would be more okay, K-pop and all the stuff that connects us as in that circle. But then I might hide that part of myself if I'm with my colleagues or other circles. So code switching is just being you're hiding parts of yourself and bringing certain things out, and that's
so it's kind of an umbrella term for the Goffman theory, which is kind of like what we were talking about before, how we kind of present ourselves in a specific manner to other people, like puppets. So we kind of control what people think of us by the way how we present ourselves. You go up to a whole bunch of Chinese people, you're going to try to speak the clearest Cantonese you possibly can and avoid looking like an idiot. And if you go to a bunch of English people, you're not going to go. You're going to just speak normally. You're not going to try to. You're going to avoid any kind of Asian faux pas and try to not have any accent with the way you speak. and so I think another part of that was like it's a very us. There's another theory of us versus them, and we all have these kind of groups where we want to be part of something, and we want something to kind of juxtapose ourselves to, like us being, the Australian-born Chinese or American-born Chinese or whatnot, and them being the Chinese people or the English people. So it's a very weird way of thinking of things, because it's more about intersectionality and how you present yourself. So how you present each identity differently to everyone else around you. And you can't express everything at the same time unless you have people that are exactly the same as you, which is quite difficult to find.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, so this one's from Tales of Mr. E. He's asked everyone, what is your go-to dish when at a Chinese restaurant? Good question. Love it. So, Noda, do you want to go first?
My go-to dish is chicken feet.
Really?
Feng
Zhao? Really? Feng Zhao?
Feng
Yeah, Feng Zhao.
Feng Zhao, yeah. Oh my god. Really? You love chicken feet?
I love.
Wait, which one? Is it the one? Is it the brown one with the chili sauce?
Rice.
Yeah, it's the brown one. Yeah, with the black beans.
Wow, we have a chicken feet lover.
I don't want a chicken feet lover here. Come on.
Chicken feet lover here. There we go.
Willow's like, no. Yes, Tales of Mr. E. Yes.
Yeah. For me, I like it's called, when I order it in the Chinese not the Chinese takeaway, the Chinese restaurant, it's Xi Jiu Ngou Ho, which is basically beef and green pepper black bean sauce with ho fun.
Yeah.
With ho fun.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I love that. I can never get enough of it. Either that, or I have what was it called? What's it called now? The free roast rice. Free roast rice. The Sam Siu Fan.
Sam Siu Fan, yeah, with the
with the duck, with the pork, the char siu. Oh my god, I can never get enough of that. Put some chili on it, some soy sauce. Oh, amazing. Yeah.
Do you have a favourite of which meat you'd like more of though? I feel like char siu and like hardly any ngap.
Oh, it's the pork with the crackling. I love that. I can eat that all day. It is so good.
Pork, yes.
So bad for you, but oh my god, it's so good. So good. You guys are making me hungry. Oh my god. I'm so hungry now.
For me, I'm pretty boring. I just like the good old sumai, and also
I
don't really. Yeah, sumai. Oh yeah, just sumai. Hakao. Kind of like too much flour and shit in it.
Yeah.
Right.
And the white side of me, the kind of Australian side. Oh, just go for sweet and sour chicken. That's good enough for me.
Sweet
and sour pork.
Sweet
and sour pork is good enough for me. It's an abomination, but it's still tasty.
I was gonna say I was so teased by my family if I got either 炸奶黃包 or sweet and sour.
Yeah, or anything salt and pepper's good as well. Anything salt and pepper's like a winner. So yeah, salt and pepper chips, salt and pepper chicken, pork, whatever. It's just anything salt and pepper's good. So I can't complain about that.
Of course, I can't be Vietnamese without having my pho at me.
Oh, I love pho, man. I absolutely love pho or pho. Oh, I love noodles. Absolutely love noodles.
I love noodles so much.
Yeah. All right.
Good question.
Good question. Love it. So the next question is from Will again. Is what's the best thing you enjoy most about being a British-born Asian or British-born Chinese? Noda?
Don't look at me. I'm not British.
or an Asian person that's born in a Western country. So what's the best thing about it then? So
for me, I like it that I'm not easily put in a box, and sometimes I actually quite like that now.
Yeah.
That I can sort of be of my own and not feel like I have to fit into a certain box. So that in itself is giving me a different sense of freedom, and that would be my favorite thing.
I think for me is the dual culture, is enjoying the best of both worlds, I think. And then I think obviously you will have issues of mishmashing the cultures, but I quite like the fact that I was able to enjoy both and really fully appreciate both cultures, and then becoming and creating an identity of myself, of my own, rather than like, I'm either too Chinese or too Western or what you call it. I'm just I'm just who I am, and I've got a mix of cultures, a mix of learnings, a mix of experiences to be who I am today. So that's one thing that I really love about being British born Chinese.
And Australian born.
Yeah, for myself. Yeah, I didn't want, as you can tell, this has gone on a very long time, so I didn't get into my own story. But yeah, for myself, I think it's because I find that people that haven't traveled or haven't had contact with a second language or had that kind of cultural experience are more likely to be very ignorant about the world. And so even when I was studying political papers written by people from America and whatnot, I could take an Asian's perspective on how things are. Because, just because you're from the West doesn't mean everything's right and everything's the way it's supposed to be. And if you take an Asian's perspective, you're like, oh, okay, well, China's been a feudal system for like how long? And there wasn't so much, strife in that way. But then when you read it from a Western perspective, it's like, no, China bad, they had a feudal system, they're bad. So for me, having a kind of different perspective helps in every way where I see things. I see things in two kind of different ways, which you can apply to everything. But when you're stuck to like, I have one culture, I have one language, I have one way of living life, it's very hard for you to be empathetic to other people because you don't know anything else. And that's one of the strengths of having a multicultural. And there's also studies to say that if you have been exposed very early to different languages, although you develop a lot slower, like you were saying before, in terms of language, you actually become a lot more, let's say, amenable to study, to growth when you grow up, because you're just so used to multitasking. So that's another hidden blessing of being unable to speak English at a young age.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
No, that's awesome. Let's see, have we got any more questions, people? Okay, well, I've got a question for some of you guys. So if you guys like chicken feet, type 1 now.
What?
Let's see who likes chicken feet in the chat. I really want to know. I'm very curious.
Okay,
yeah.
Type 1 if you like chicken feet.
Type 1 if you like chicken feet. Get out!
So you're not a
No
big fan,
chicken
I'm
feet.
You're not a big fan?
I just want to make sure. I want to see. Like, are you on your own with a chicken feet? Oh no,
Tales
no.
of Mystery.
Where I live?
Tales
Where I
of
live,
Mystery.
right?
Yeah.
Minus
Like,
one. Someone put -1.
We only have one.
You know, the restaurants, they give you like a plate and it's like 3 or 4 pieces, right? Because they don't give you very much. But like, I know places in Brisbane, like where I'm from, they like sell it by the takeaway box, so you can have all you want.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. So
No, I
I'll
love
just
chicken
grab a
feet
whole
so
box for
much.
$10.
Okay.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it, guys.
Delete chicken
especially Glor.
Don't be ignorant.
Yeah. Here's a question I want to ask the chat as well. Okay. Type 1 if you like spare ribs, and type 2 if you prefer spring rolls.
I'm gonna type.
The true Asians. The true Asians will say
yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say 1, but let's see what.
Spare ribs.
The true Asians
Oh,
will say
the true Asians are saying 1. Yeah, we got that right. Yeah. The spare ribs. But what kind of spare ribs?
Because-
Barbecue or salt and pepper?
So,
Yeah.
Barbecue. No, barbecue.
I love barbecue with honey. Barbecue with honey, spare ribs. Oh my god.
Slow roasted.
oh, food. Oh.
But you know the thing about the spring rolls.
We
there's different
need
tiers of
to
spring
go.
rolls, right?
We need to go 6 yeah now. You know what I mean? Like, we need to go out and go to like a late Chinese
There's
restaurant and go
different tiers
eat.
of spring rolls, man.
That's what I want to do
There's
now.
like the one
I
that's
just want to eat.
the one they do properly with the mince and everything in there, and like all the kind of condiments in there. And then there's one where they just shove veggies in there and call it a spring roll, or like it's more like a Chico roll than anything else.
Nice,
Different tiers
nice.
of spring rolls.
You gotta end the conversation with food, man. Do you know what I mean? So like end it on a high.
Yeah, so give us your best rendition of X.
Let's test how much
Like-
Chinese we can read. Oh god.
Oh my god,
man,
are we gonna have to read Chinese? I can't read a single word if I'm being
Okay,
honest.
someone type Chinese in the chat and we'll read it. We'll
The
try and
worst
read it.
karaoke experience I ever had
Yeah.
was, I had a bunch of people around my age, all kind of Asians as well. And you know that song "Kiss Me" from Dawson's Creek?
Yeah, I know.
Picture like 5 Asian girls, all with really thick Australian accents, singing that song.
Really? So
It was a nightmare.
Oh my god. Oh man.
I was like, oh, kill me now.
There was always a song every time I go to karaoke, Chinese karaoke. There's always someone that puts a Beyond song. You know the Beyond Chinese. I forgot what it's called, but it's a I don't know where you heard it, but it's a song by Beyond, and every single Chinese person or every single room I've been in, it always plays. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, that one, that Beyond song. Well, we need to link it to the chat once we get it. Yeah, find it. Yeah, okay. Link it to the chat. Yeah. That will be the song of today's podcast.
Karaoke, man. Like
karaoke, man.
My folks, like we have one of my uncles in Vietnam. They have like a special machine.
Yeah,
like, it's specifically for karaoke. It's like an equalizer by itself, and it sells like hotcakes in Vietnam. And so it's like you got thousands of songs on there, and it's just every single weekend. I'm like, I don't want to go to my uncle's house this weekend. I'm fine. I don't want to get my brains blasted out by like 50-year-old people singing karaoke. I'm good.
Wait, guys, did you ever have a VCD machine?
Yes.
VCD. Noda, did you have VCD? Come on,
yeah,
you must
have.
I did
karaoke at home.
Yeah, VCDs. Oh my god.
This is like the upgraded version of it. It's all inside the machine, so it's just like a massive bank of like thousands of songs.
Oh my god, VCDs, man. I remember I used to buy a load of Doraemon VCDs back in the day. Doraemon, yeah. Come on, I watched Doraemon. IQ Boxy as
Doraemon.
Well. Yeah, Dragon Ball. What else did I watch when I was a kid? Oh my god, there was all sorts.
Zhu I think that was mainly for little girls. Zhu or Lo Fuji.
Yes, Master Q, right?
Yeah.
Master Q. I remember I used to buy the comic books in the Chinese supermarket or the store. I had like a whole library of Master Q comics. Oh my god, they were classics. Amazing.
I found it really funny that the first seasons of Initial D were all in Cantonese.
Initial D? You have the Cantonese version?
They were like they had it all in Cantonese, and even the movies in Cantonese.
No way.
The
I watched Dragon Ball in Cantonese back in the day. You used to watch Dragon Ball in Cantonese. Yeah.
We have some questions and also some Chinese for us to read.
Okay, go for it. What's the Chinese we need to read? All I can read is die. Big something.
Are you on your chat?
I'm on my chat, yeah.
Okay, so Magic Coupon says, thank you, big brother and big sister.
Wow.
Yes.
How did you manage that? Yeah. You said you didn't.
On my chat, Potato Gaijin says, welcome, something, I don't get that one. And then Marmite, okay, you go, you read what.
No, I can't read any of that, so there's no point. Tales of Mr. E, I don't know what he's saying, but I'm gonna put it in Google's Translate.
Something. Not. And then wait. Potato guy, welcome. Marmite says, how are you? Vaughn, wow, okay, that's a lot there. Something.
Chinese.
In terms of my own abilities and Vietnamese.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much on the same level.
Well, this is what.
Probably a little bit more fluent, but same level.
This is what Mr. E said. Listen.
这个直播很不错.
Did you hear that? That means this live broadcast is very good. Thank you, Mr. E. Thank you for tuning in. Ah, love it. I love you, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Translate is terrible.
Damn it, I thought my Chinese was worse than yours. Oh, thank you for the follow, people. Thank you. And yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you very much.
I got a quick question from Delinquent for you guys.
Hey. Yeah, go for it.
Thanks for following.
What would you consider a unique? I mean, we touched upon some of these points already, but I guess the question here is, what would you consider a unique challenge for being a British-born Asian or Australian-born or American-born?
Oh, that's a tough question. A unique challenge.
Oh, it's quite easy. Finding your place.
You go first.
I think
finding your place.
Yeah, I think identity.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, identity, finding your place. Easy. Yeah. That's
because we touched on the fact that you don't fit in within Western society, and you don't fit in within your traditional society because you have Western ideals.
Yeah.
But you obviously look physically different.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
true.
A continuous struggle between fitting in with the Western society and your traditional society, which we can never resolve, which is going to be a continued struggle for us until we uprise and go, you know what, the new tradition is just us newborn, Asian people. This is our culture now.
You know what? Like, I could have said it better myself, so I say whatever QQ said. So I agree with what he's saying. Whatever QQ said. Whatever he said. Whatever this guy said. So yeah, I agree with this guy. All right.
Any questions, guys, or anything else?
Anything else before we close it up? Then we'll have one or two more questions. Yeah, it's been awesome.
It's gone really, really quick.
It has gone quick, hasn't it? I like it.
Like, what? It's already almost 10:30 here, and I'm like, what? I could talk more. Like, oh my god.
Told you I didn't even get into my own story, so there could be part 2 if you guys are up for it.
Yeah, you know what? We'll do this again, Noda. I definitely want to do this again. Like I feel it's really been insightful. I learned a lot, in terms from from QQ's point of view. Because he studied the whole thing. And it's good to sort of see a really outside perspective from I don't know, like almost like a scientific approach to it. Do you get what I mean? So but yeah, it's really been insightful, so I definitely
just for a preview. So my own story is like my parents were forced out of Vietnam, and so I grew up in a country town. So I was a country boy. So I literally was one of only 2 Asian people, the other guy being a Thai person, in 10,000 people, in a white Australian rural town. Let that sink in. And also, I've also touched on this before, but I wrote a paper about the Vietnamese triad in Australia, and there's a lot to discuss about that and how identity and how family plays into that. So there's a lot more to talk about, but we can probably end it today because we'll be going on for a fair little while.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What time is it there in Australia now? Must be...
It's 7:30.
7:30.
In the morning.
Yeah. I'm going to play a translation, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm gonna link you guys to Beyond playlist.
Well,
so enjoy.
Yeah, so this translation, that's by, let's have a look, by Magic Coupons. I'll play it again one more time. And that means...
I like big ass, I won't lie.
I like big ass, I won't lie. Thank you very much for that. Nice to know you like big asses, so yeah.
Perfect way to hit the street.
Yeah, it's not about chicken feet, it's about ass now. So Magic Coupons completely changed the subject.
Magic Coupon?
Magic Coupon, come on man, keep it on subject.
Why you eat chicken feet when you can eat ass, right?
Yeah. Oh my god. Did your grandparents always eat the chicken bum? The ass of the chicken?
I eat chicken bum.
Yeah, like my grandma loved the chicken bum. When you have the whole chicken. But like there's that chicken bum thing, yeah. My grandma loved that bit.
Fish eyes, come on, fish eyeballs.
Oh no, don't do the fish eyes. Noda, come on. Noda, you're so... Noda, mate, you are taking Chinese to another level. I didn't think you would be like that.
I love eyeballs.
Yeah.
Chicken blood pudding. Congee.
Yeah, blood pudding, yeah. Taiwanese street market,
Oh my god.
You actually see the stuff being made, it is another level of messed up.
I don't think Noda would be that level of extreme when it
You've
comes to
learned a lot about
food.
me tonight, haven't you?
I have, yeah. You like fish eyes. Like
I
chicken
can do
feet.
bush chukka trials, no problem. Get me in there. Get me in the jungle.
The fetal eggs? Yeah, I refuse to do that.
The which egg?
The eggs where they actually have like a newborn chicken inside.
The batuk, right? Yes. In the Philippines, yeah. Oh no, I want to eat that. I want to try that.
They're like premature egg chickens that haven't hatched yet. It's quite It's a
you're going to make Shen really sick now. We were talking about really nice, delicious food, and now we're
Now I'm like trying to point out food that Chinese people love, but that I don't like. Okay, so here's one last question before we close the stream. One last question, okay? But what do you guys think of durian or durian?
It's fine.
I hate that shit. It tastes like bee. It smells like bee. It's fucking horrible.
Here's a story for you.
Oh no! No.
Me, I
Type
love
1
durian
if
so
you like
much.
Dorian. If you like Dorian, type 1. If you don't, type 2. So I want to see the chat.
Type one,
Who
type one,
loves
type
Dorian?
One, type one.
Okay, so last story. So very quickly,
You guys
when I
are
was
weird.
when I was
You
in
guys are weird.
my country town, there was a teacher there who was she's a white lady, but she went to Indonesia, and she wanted to kind of introduce the people to Indonesian food and whatnot. And because we're in the countryside, it's like we don't have durians and everything, right? So she had to get a frozen one from the local supermarket because you can't get fresh ones there. And so she brought it in, and so there's 30, 40 white kids just looking at it going, ew! And then me and her are just sitting there just eating it like, what's wrong with it? So we pretty much finished the whole thing. And the funny thing is that because the durians were frozen, they're really expensive. Like say if an apple it's like 5 or 6 times the expense of your watermelon. And so I'm like, this is worth a lot, and this is all right. What are you guys thinking about?
Oh my god.
We even have durian cream cakes here in Brisbane. So the cream, the butter fillings in the cake, yeah, that's all durian.
Shen, I got an idea.
What?
I think what we should do, and you guys can agree or disagree. But
Oh
I
my
think
god,
what
no!
we
Don't do this to me!
For me to go out and get tons of durian flavored
Ice cream
and goodies, and then just
Cake.
do a Shen reaction video.
Oh my god. You know what? Maybe we should do a taste test, you know what I mean? Like when we meet up in London, we should buy a load of
Right,
durian
guys, yeah?
flavoured shit that I don't like and to see whether I actually like it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
His face already. He was like,
I actually, oh my god, I remembered another thing as well when I went to Hong Kong, and someone came into the underground with a bag of stinky tofu. I don't know whether you guys ever had stinky tofu before, but
yeah.
that is the
Japanese
most
stuff.
foul smell I've ever encountered ever, and it follows you. It followed me to the hotel. I was nowhere near this guy, but this stinky tofu smell, it lingered for 24 hours. Tofu, that's what it's called, yeah. And oh my god, it was disgusting. It was.
One time on the public bus, there was some lady was going home. She had a bottle of fish sauce in her bag, and it cracked open. Oh, the driver would not have it. He's just I can't stand this. I can't drive. I'm gonna have to evacuate the bus. This is no go. It's fish sauce.
Man. Wow.
I guess because my mom's from Malaysia, right? So when I go to see my relatives and they eat durian, it's very common. So I just got used to it, and now I love it so much. And I can't have it. It's not easily. You can't get it that easy here in London. It costs so much. It's 35 quid.
Good.
Last time I spent 35 quid on the durian. It wasn't even ripe, and I was like, this is so sad.
Good.
This might gross you out, but yeah, think of it as sweet garlic.
Sweet garlic. Oh, you were meant to make Shen like this. Think of it as think of it as custard. It's got really it's delicious, thick custard.
What? Durian?
Cherry custard.
It's like green custard.
No, it's not green custard. It just tastes like feet. It smells like feet. You know what I mean? It's just horrible. I don't like it.
Refined.
Right, definitely doing this durian challenge then.
Okay, I'll give it a try. I mean, I'm always willing to take up a challenge, but if I throw up, you got yourself to blame. So, yeah.
Well, it's either this or the cinnamon challenge.
Ooh.
He would choose the cinnamon challenge.
I would choose the cinnamon challenge. I'll do the cinnamon challenge rather than the Dorian challenge. Yeah. I'll do the cinnamon challenge any day. I'll do that. All right. Well, I think that concludes our chat for today. Really, really interesting chat. Thank you very much, Noda. Thank you very much, QQ, for being here. It's been awesome. I didn't think I'll enjoy it as much as I did today or tonight even. So yeah, I had a really good laugh. So thank you very much for being here, and thank you, chat, for all being here as well. It's been awesome. It's good to sort of see fellow Chinese or fellow Asians here, just to give us a taste of culture. You know what I mean? So yeah.
That durian.
No.
Not durian.
I'll have chicken feet over durian. Do you know what I mean? I'll have chicken feet over durian, but not durian. No, don't like it.
Thank you guys. Thank you QQ for your time as well and your insight. And if you guys want to see part 2, then definitely let us know.
Let us know, yeah, if you enjoy
we'll
it. Yeah, if you enjoy it, let us know. Like, drop Noda a message, drop QQ a message, or drop me a message, or retweet the any clips that you have of this podcast. Just let us know. Let us know if you want more of this type of content. Then, you know, we only know if you guys tell us. You know, so we definitely could do with some feedback. If there's anything that you think we can do better, then let us know as well. So, once again,
get a camera.
You get a camera, man.
Yeah.
You get a camera.
If you're comfortable.
Maybe we should do some challenges. Yeah, maybe we should do some challenges. Like, you know, like next time we're on, we'll actually have some food to taste and give give a review.
I can. Oh, I'm so excited now.
Yeah.
I don't know what challenge that I can do though.
I think you know what? I think a challenge I would start off with. I think the next time we're here is bring your favorite Asian snacks, and tell people why you like these Asian snacks. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna bring out all these amazing snacks that I love, and I'm gonna do a review on it. And I'm just gonna show and tell on your favorite Asian snacks. I think that will be the next episode. Yes, we're on it. We're doing this. Next episode.
Shows up with
Asian snacks. Yes. Yeah, you show it with jury, and I'll be like, switching you off, mate.
Raging Silver from my chat says we should do a mukbang podcast.
Oh, that's interesting.
How do people feel about like sounds of eating and stuff though? Like,
I've got an amazing mic for that. You know what I mean? I've got an amazing mic for eating.
I did not just spend $90 to chew into a mic.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do it. So if you guys want to see some mukbang or snack streams, then let us know. But I think it would be a really good one if we did a stream about Asian snacks and we do a review, do a show and tell. I think that'd be awesome.
BBC podcast turn into a food podcast.
Yes, indeed, it has to be. Yeah, leave it on a high, everyone.
It'd be really good for everyone to figure out some more questions and have stuff prepared next time, so we can kind of, when we have dead space, we can always address a few questions here and there. And if you guys are willing to, I'll do a bit more research and catch up with more stuff that I haven't touched for like 10 years. So hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, definitely. I look forward to it. Once again, thank you very much. All of you, take care of yourselves and have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Around 30 as well.
Around 30, yeah. Someone just said I'm too late. So and they're gonna cry.
They can always watch the VOD.
Over. Yeah. Chewy, that would be quite good actually. Yeah, because it gives a good balance, doesn't it? Between like.
I'll probably just get the coated peanuts.